Hey guys, what's going on? This is my channel, Truth and Wisdom, and I want to talk about drinking a little bit because drinking seems to be a good way to cope with life, right? Maybe not. Maybe it's not the best way to cope with life. Life can be stressful and hard as fuck to deal with, especially when you're dealing with everyday life, working, struggling with bills, debt, unsuccessful relationships, unsuccessful success in life. That will come with your life, whether you're successful or not. At some point, you're gonna deal with trying to find ways to deal with the stress, and a lot of people deal with stress in different ways. And I do drink sometimes, yeah, I do. And when I want to talk about this video, mainly is about the DUI that I received. And it was a long time coming. It probably should have happened a long time ago. Luckily, I wasn't convicted of any felony charges or felony convictions. I was charged, but I wasn't convicted. And I was like cattle groped into a fucking DUI checkpoint, which is basically illegal. It's basically some Nazi Germany shit. But like I said, when I got in there, when I was out one night having fun, I had one or two drinks. I didn't drink very much. I was there for a couple more hours after that. I thought one drink per hour will probably be good. I'm not sure, man. It depends on your body weight and all. It depends on a lot of things. And I would advise Ben not to drink and drive at all. I would say if you have to drive in 6 hours, you can have one drink now. If you have to drive in 3 hours, no drinks. If you have to drive in 12 hours, maybe one or two. I mean, they say one drink per hour. That's basically bullshit advice, because if you have one drink per hour and then you go and drive and get caught up in a checkpoint or you get pulled over, the one drink per hour rule is basically bullshit. Like they're gonna either frame you and lie, or you're gonna blow over the limit or near the limit, and then they can alter the limits because they have alternate ways of testing you. They can test you with a field sobriety test, and then when you get inside their RV, basically it's a RV, and you get in there, and then they handcuff you, and then you blow something else, and they're supposed to read you your rights. They don't always do that. They don't always read you your rights. They pointed to a poster. They were like, "Hey, read this. These are your rights." And I said, "I can't read." And they said, they're filming me too. They filmed you the whole time because all evidence, right, can be used against you. And they said, "We read you your rights. You see this poster?" And I says, "Yes, I can kind of see the poster. However, you did not read me my rights, and I want that to be on record. That you did not read me my rights at all. Before you put these handcuffs on me, before you detained me and threw me, but they throw you in the back of like a cattle car, like a little van with gates on it, and you're cuffed up and you're in there with other guys. It's a horrible experience to go through. And they transport you to a jail or a prison, and you sit in this room with other guys that are all just thinking about how they just basically ruin their lives. Because if they had a job driving, they just lost that job. If they had a job, I don't know. It really ruined it. It didn't ruin my life because I got out of it. But if it would have really happened, it would have probably ruined my life. I was really thinking about suicide at that point. At the DUI that I was facing. Anyways, long story short, I don't like long videos. You guys know that. So I got to get to the point. So I'm in there for like 16 hours. And they pull me out. They give me some shitty ass sandwich. I don't eat it. Fuck prison food. And they breathalyze me again after about 16 hours, and I blow 0.0. And I get out, and they put me back in the transport van, and they take me right back to basically where I left off, which was downtown. They got this little substation there. And I'm downtown. I don't have my cell phone. I don't take my cell phone when I go play pool. And I basically have to walk like 12 miles back to my house. Luckily, I live only 12 miles away from my house. My whole face was sunburned as fuck. And I get home, and the people that I lived with didn't know where I was at. And my daughter didn't know where I was at. And they were like, where were you? What happened to you? And I just said, hey, I got arrested, and that's not good news to give to anybody. And I'm probably going to have to get a new job soon. And I started looking for a new job that day. That day I started looking because I did have a job working for a company I'm not going to disclose, where I did drive a company vehicle. So I started looking for a job the same day that I got out of jail. And I started getting my paperwork together for my court dates. All of a sudden I have charges now. I have to show up for these court dates. And it was so much stress on me and my family. And I was just like, okay, what's the next step? How do I prepare myself for this? I thought about hiring a lawyer. I called a DUI lawyer. And I asked him how much the price was. And he told me about $3,500 would be required in the next about 3 months. So it's like $700 a month payments. And if I didn't pay everything in full by that time, then he wouldn't even go to court for me at all. So I said, thank you, I can't afford your services. Thank you, but no thank you. So I researched that, and then I became like a jail lawyer. I just started going online and looking at all the content I could find for DUIs. But a DUI, you see photos and you see billboards, stop DUI. They don't really educate you well enough. If that would have went down and I really would have been convicted of a DUI, that would have really ruined my life. Really would have. I would have had to pay about $3,000 or $4,000 total in total fees. I would have had to get a breathalyzer installed in my car, where every time I tried to start my car, I'd have to blow into a machine. And even if I had like mouthwash in my breath, it would have failed, and then I would have turned it off, and I would have been fined again. And I would have had to pay for this machine every month. It's about $100 a month. You have to pay for this machine. You have to pay for it for a full year. You also have to get a probation officer, and you have to report to him every day. And you have to call them, and like you get these different colors when you call this voicemail. And if it comes up on your color, then you have to go and take a breathalyzer again downtown or wherever they want you to. You also have to do community service. So all of a sudden, you have a perfect life. Now all of a sudden you have a probation officer. You can't drink for a year. And if you're an alcoholic, good luck with that. You have to do community service. You have to pay all these fines, fees, court fees. It just goes on and on. Get a new job. Start your life over again. You lose respect for your family. You lose respect from your coworkers. You lose respect from yourself. And you feel like you just let everybody down. And they say, okay, you need to get a government-issued representative to represent you in court. Now, I looked at this paperwork. This is very colorful paperwork. They want your all your paychecks for like a year. They want all that documentation. They want all your, if you're married, they want your wife's documentation of all the money she makes for a year. Like, they're not going to fine you even more if you provide this. I went to court twice. The cop never showed up, thank God. The second time, they said, where's your public defender? And I said, I don't have a public defender. They said, why not? I said, because I wasn't interested in one. They said, well, how far in the process did you get with obtaining a public defender? You know, that's basically like a free lawyer the state's supposed to give you. And I said, I read the paperwork, and my family earns too much money to be involved in that. And I decided it wasn't for me. So they gave me a public defender basically on the spot. They sent this lady back in a room with me for about 2 seconds, and I signed some waiver. And I came back out, and they said, you know, if this goes the wrong way, by you representing yourself, you might serve 90 days in jail, and we don't. If this all turns over on your head, don't blame us. That's what the judge told me. I said, yes, Your Honor, I understand. I would like to proceed with everything, and I want to face whatever my judgment's going to be. I'd like to plead not guilty. And then he opened the file, and he says, there's no proof against you that was submitted that you blew. There's no evidence that says anything about that night that you were arrested. And there's no witnesses here. There's no police officers here that were there that night that witnessed you getting arrested. So we're going to dismiss you. We're going to dismiss the case. You're free to go, Mr. Knight. And have a nice day. So I will never make that mistake again. And I hope all you younger men or older men, I don't really care, or women, I don't really give a fuck. Don't fuck around with that fucking drinking and driving shit. Get an Uber, walk home. I basically should have walked home because I ended up walking home from the same fucking spot anyways. So you're better off walking, jaywalking. Yeah, you're better off not driving. Sleeping in the backseat of your car if you have to. Do what you gotta do, man, but DUIs are deadly. And I would suggest everybody that drinks to research it, because I didn't research it until it was too late. And I almost got caught up in it, and I got off the hook. But it will fuck your life up bad. And I had to get a different job. I did. So good luck with that, guys. Good luck.